Alright, we're wrapping up Nostalgia Talk Christmas bonus this year with a classic for us Muppet fans, A Muppet Family Christmas. Every year when I do this series, my plan is to review only one Muppet-related holiday special as a way to make room for others. And to be honest, I wasn't going to do Muppet Family Christmas this year. I kind of wanted to wait until I ran out of Muppet ones to talk about because this one is so beloved by a lot of us in the Muppet community, but then in September, in celebration of Jim Henson's birthday, this video came out with Kermit, Gobo Fraggle, and Oscar the Grouch celebrating creativity and acceptance, so that's when I started to think that this was the perfect time to look back on this one. Because of Disney owning the Muppets and Sesame Workshop owning Sesame Street, it's pretty rare that the worlds of Jim Henson have ever crossed over. Kermit the Frog, of course, was introduced on Jim Henson's first show Sam and Friends, and would go on to appear with Jim Henson on variety shows and specials before landing a spot on Sesame Street and later on The Muppet Show. In fact, quite a few pre-existing Muppet characters from variety shows and commercials that Jim Henson was doing at the time would go on to become regulars on Sesame Street. But a crossover like this is pretty epic, with the big three of Jim Henson's worlds coming together, especially for the holidays. The perfect time for family to get together. And family can be more than just relatives. Sometimes we think of family as close relationships that we've had with the people in our own lives. Anyway, let's get on with Muppet Family Christmas. The special begins with the Muppet Show gang in the back of a truck being driven by Fozzie Bear, who's taking his friends with him to surprise his mother to spend Christmas at her farmhouse, but what he doesn't know is that his mom has already planned on spending Christmas in Malibu, California, and is renting her farmhouse to Doc and Sprocket from Fraggle Rock. Doc and Sprocket arrive before Ma Bear takes off, successfully avoiding the icy patch in front of the door. Just then, Fozzie suddenly shows up, much to his mother's surprise, as the rest of the Muppet gang comes in. However, they do not notice the icy patch, as everyone kind of slips and slides into the farmhouse. Doc asks Sprocket if this is similar to Sprocket's stories about Fraggles, but Ma Bear assures Doc that they're her son's weirdo friends, with Dr. Teeth adding, "Yeah, we're proud of it too!" Although Sam Eagle questions why he has to be there, as Fozzie introduces Kermit to his mother, who mistakes him for being a lizard. Ma Bear decides to cancel her holiday plans for the Muppet gang to stay, much to Doc's annoyance, as Miss Piggy calls the farmhouse to inform Kermit that she's going to be delayed, as she forgot about a photo session that she just scheduled. So, she didn't really forget. It's like, sorry I'm late, I didn't want to come. As the Muppets get settled and Doc becomes more annoyed, the Swedish chef arrives planning on cooking the Christmas turkey, who shows up after Fozzie and the chef head to the kitchen. Gonzo tries to protect the turkey from the chef, but the turkey claims that the chef invited him to the farmhouse for Christmas dinner, but not in the way that he thinks. He asks Gonzo, "Where's my room?" Gonzo replies, "If you're not careful, it'll be in the oven." After the Muppets have all been situated, Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem perform Jingle Bell Rock, with Sprocket seeming to enjoy himself and Doc seeming really confused. Outside, while Fozzie makes a snowman, Rolf arrives after chasing the truck all the way. "And boy am I exhausted!" So, is there not enough room in the truck for Rolf? And what about Miss Piggy for that matter, although clearly she didn't want to go. Anyway, Fozzie tells Rolf to share his joke with his mother, but he didn't know about the icy patch. One of my friends sent me a video on Instagram, "Best Muppet running gag, be careful of the icy patch." As I said in my look back on the Muppet Show Halloween episodes, the first season of the Muppet Show focused mostly on running gags under the supervision of then head writer Jack Burns, who left the show afterwards and was replaced by longtime Muppet writer Jerry Jewell, who also wrote this special. With Jerry, the Muppet Show became more focused on what happens backstage, adding more character to the Muppets themselves, with the jokes and gags focusing more on their personalities. After Rolf and Sprocket make friends, he finds a piano and starts playing Sleigh Ride, with Fozzie and his snowman joining in outside and telling jokes to the animals, with even Doc now starting to enjoy himself. A Muppet Penguin compliments Fozzie and his snowman as one of the funniest comedy teams in the business. Feeling confident, Fozzie goes inside to look for Kermit, but he's so excited that he slips on the icy patch on the way in. As Fozzie starts to talk to Kermit, Miss Piggy calls again, finishing her Christmas shopping before making her way to the farmhouse. Meanwhile, the turkey seems to have realized what he was in for, as Sprocket tries to protect himself from the Swedish chef, who argues with Doc over the turkey's claim that Sprocket is the actual Christmas turkey, as the chef mentions to Doc in his mock Swedish language. Really? The chef is that stupid? I don't care if the turkey said the dog is the turkey! I mean, come on. Can the chef not tell the difference? This special was also around the time of the Muppet Babies animated series, which first made its debut in the form of puppets for the Muppets Take Manhattan. In this special, Scooter stumbles upon old home movies of the Muppet Babies in puppet form at Christmas time, singing Santa Claus is Coming to Town until Animal rips through the projector. While trying to hide from the chef, the turkey meets Camilla, Gonzo's chicken girlfriend. The turkey flirts with her, and she seems to enjoy it just as Gonzo shows up. Gonzo states that Camilla is his girlfriend, with the turkey commenting on how Gonzo isn't a bird. Gonzo replies, "Well, nobody's perfect." Gonzo and the turkey trade insults for Camilla's affection, but Kermit breaks up the fight hearing carolers coming by. The carolers turn out to be the Sesame Street gang, singing a medley of Here We Come A-Caroling and Deck the Halls in parts, although Oscar refuses to sing the Follow Me in Merry Measure line, which everyone else just kind of goes along with. What I like about this number is that with the amount of classic Sesame Street Muppets, like Sherlock Hemlock, Biff and Sully, Simon Soundman, and Forgetful Jones that are in this crowd, some of them also have solos, like Guy Smiley and Harry Monster. The Sesame Street family seems to be even bigger, as once again, nobody notices the icy patch and the Muppets come into the farmhouse in groups. Before Doc goes to build bunk beds, and Biff and Sully are there so you can ask them to help, Doc meets Bert and Ernie. Did you know that Doc starts with the letter D? Why, yes. Yes starts with the letter Y. True. And true starts with the letter T. I actually really like this scene, and I'll tell you why. When the Muppet Gang first shows up, it basically turns Doc and Sprocket's whole Christmas upside down. And during the Jingle Bell Rock number, you can see how confused Doc is, but as he witnesses the home movie watching and Fozzie singing with his snowman, he starts to accept it. And when the Sesame Street Gang arrives, Bert and Ernie just instantly say hello to Doc, and Doc seems just delighted. While Jim Henson is known for the Muppets and Sesame Street, their franchises are aimed at a different age group, which goes back to what I said before about acceptance, with Doc meeting Bert and Ernie. Bert tells Doc, "Where we come from, this is small talk." Back in the kitchen, the chef starts to prepare the turkey, who tries to convince him that he's a dairy cow, but no matter how hard he insists, the chef is not convinced as he prepares the roasting pan. The turkey finally admits to the chef that he is a turkey, but still trying to avoid becoming dinner shows the chef Big Bird, and he decides to cook him instead. Kind of going back to what I said about the Muppets and Sesame Street being aimed for different audiences. With everyone grouped together in the living room, the Muppet newsman reports on TV about a forthcoming winter blizzard and that barometers are falling sharply, as they literally fall on top of the newsman in traditional Muppet Show fashion just as the blizzard starts. While the Count enjoys counting the snowflakes, Kermit starts to worry about Miss Piggy. After Ma and Fozzie Bear arrange who is going to be sharing rooms, with Rizzo deciding to bunk with Oscar the Grouch, Ernie presents the Sesame Street pageant. Usually Prairie Dawn is the one who hosts the pageants, but okay. Ernie narrates The Night Before Christmas with Bert in the role of Mama. Of course, Ernie has Bert play the female part. There was one sketch on Sesame Street where Ernie played the role of a farm boy and Bert played a princess that he was going to marry. Bert feels embarrassed as Ernie continues with the story, featuring Grover as the mouse who was not stirring. Ma Bear comments, "Aren't they adorable?" And Oscar responds, "Hey, don't encourage them!" The story continues with monsters, including Elmo playing the role of the reindeer, with the two-headed monster playing Santa Claus, much to Bert's dismay. Even Sam Eagle finds it weird. Bertie said he'd never been in a play before. I mean, they said it. Both of them said it. Side note, does anyone think it's a little weird that Elmo just appears in the background? Because I think this was when Elmo was just starting to become a star. As the storm continues, Miss Piggy calls to let Kermit know that she plans on taking a taxi to the farmhouse, but Kermit warns her about the blizzard. However, Piggy insists that it's nothing, as she is blown away with the wind trying to catch a cab. Back at the farmhouse, Fozzie introduces Kermit to his snowman partner, who finds it so cold that he joins the rest of the Muppets inside. Fozzie shares his and the snowman's act with everyone in the farmhouse, just as Statler and Waldorf to show up to heckle Fozzie as usual. Apparently, they're friends with Fozzie's mother and visit her every Christmas. Did Fozzie, never come up in their conversations? Maybe she told them to heckle him in the first place. "These two comics are made for each other. The snowman is ice cold and the bear's not so hot. After all, there's no business like snow business." Fozzie decides to ignore them as he and the snowman carry on with their act. "Hey, Fozzie, did you hear about the church that burned down?" But Statler and Waldorf beat them to it. "Holy smoke!" After this, the snowman heads back outside before he melts. "Well, you know what they say, if you can't stand the heat, get out of the farmhouse." In the kitchen, Big Bird meets the Swedish chef without knowing what his plans are for him. As the chef sprinkles salt and pepper on Big Bird, he gives the chef a bag of homemade chocolate-covered birdseed, feeling for the chef being away from his family in Sweden over Christmas. The chef is so touched by Big Bird's gift that Big Bird starts to sing the Christmas song as the chef joins in. The chef then realizes that he just can't cook Big Bird, and when he asks what's for dinner, the chef answers shredded wheat and cranberry sauce, which Big Bird says is his favorite. Beauregard, the janitor from the Muppet Show, observes that he'll have a lot of snow to shovel the next day as Kermit continues worrying about Miss Piggy, who manages to find a cab to the farmhouse, but it gets stuck in the snow. Doc notices Kermit's concern and offers to go out to look for her. Kermit points out that Doc has never met Miss Piggy, to which Doc states that even though he hasn't met any of the other Muppets until recently, he considers everyone his friend and doesn't mind helping, and admits that he is having more fun this Christmas than he would have alone with Sprocket. After Doc heads out to look for Miss Piggy, Robin calls Kermit from the cellar claiming to have found a Fraggle hole, wanting Kermit to go with him to visit Fraggle Rock. Kermit and Robin go in to explore the caves as a few Fraggles sneak around Kermit and Robin before introducing themselves. Kermit and Robin wish the Fraggles a Merry Christmas, but the Fraggles don't know what they're talking about. After Robin explains it, the Fraggles tell Kermit and Robin that they have a time of year similar to Christmas and are currently celebrating it, with Moki giving Boober a special Fraggle Pebble as a present, which has been regifted and carried around to the Fraggles every year. And when Moki gives the Fraggle Pebble to Boober, he actually seems surprised. After Kermit and Robin say their goodbyes to the Fraggles, Boober gives the Fraggle Pebble to Robin. Well, that's sweet, giving a Fraggle gift to someone from the outside world. Finally, Doc returns by dog sled with Miss Piggy, who prepared the dog sled especially for him. Kermit states, "If there's one thing Miss Piggy knows, it's how to make an entrance." Although, there's one thing that Miss Piggy wasn't aware of. The icy patch. With everyone now officially together, the Muppets begin their annual Christmas Eve Carol Sing, a medley of classic Christmas songs with almost all of the main Muppet players getting solos. Listening from Fraggle Rock, the Fraggles even want to be included. Even Doc joins in. At the end of the number, Kermit gives Miss Piggy her Christmas present, a mink. Miss Piggy at first believes that she's getting a coat until an actual mink introduces herself as Maureen. At first, Miss Piggy isn't too happy until the mink fangirls over Miss Piggy. Learning from the Fraggles, Robin passes the pebble to Grover as Doc arrives dressed as Santa Claus and hands out presents to everyone. Jim Henson appears in the kitchen with Sprocket, enjoying watching everyone else enjoying themselves as the two begin washing dishes. Okay, that's it, Muppet Family Christmas. This is definitely my very favorite Muppet Christmas special, and after looking back on it, it really does capture a lot of Jim Henson. Like I said throughout this retrospective, the Muppets, Sesame Street, and Fraggle Rock come from different universes, but through Jim Henson's work, we've all learned about friendship and acceptance. And with this special, really all of that does go back to Doc. While at first Doc seems to be confused by the Muppet Gang, he really does grow to enjoy them and their company, even going as far as to look for Miss Piggy. You can also feel that at the end of the special when Jim says to Sprocket, "I like when they're having fun." I feel that seeing all three franchises together. There's a line in this special that as I was writing this really stuck with me, and that's when Doc tells Kermit, "We never met any of you until a little while ago, and now we're friends." I went out a few weeks ago, and a lot of my high school friends were at the same place with me, a few of them who had never met each other before, and all of us just shared laughs together. I honestly don't think that we'll ever have another special quite like Muppet Family Christmas again, but I hope that it's a favorite of yours just as it is mine. So that's the end of Nostalgia Talk for this year, and I hope you all have a nice holiday. I'll see you next year.